resume and curriculum vitae preparation. First, we start with a cover letter. Whether you submit a curriculum vitae or a resume application for a position, you will need to prepare a cover letter. What is a cover letter? A cover letter is a formal letter that accompanies your resume or curriculum vitae. Use it to introduce yourself to potential employers and to convince them that you're the right person for the job. Your cover letter doesn't simply restate your resume or CV. It offers some new information and it highlights the skills you have that are relevant to the job you're applying for. In writing a cover letter, it's important to take time to write a specific cover letter for each employer. Customize each cover letter you write so it relates your skills to the job. Indicate why you are writing, explaining your interest in the position. State where you learned about the position, and indicate the title of the position you are applying for. I think that's very important. It would not be appropriate to say that you're applying for any vacancy with the company, but you want to state the specific position and to relate then your work experience to that position. Explain the reasons for your interest in the organization. Express your enthusiasm for the job. Identify your most relevant skills and experiences. Include the skills that most match the job. Communicate your interest, motivation, and your strengths, and emphasize your achievements. Indicate how you will follow up, typically with a phone call or an email, and always thank the company for their consideration. It's important to avoid meaningless or wordy expressions. Your cover letter should complement, not duplicate, your resume or CV, and the cover letter is often the first contact with an employer, so make sure it creates a positive first impression. Again, you need to double check spelling, punctuation, grammar, all are very important. Now, a sample cover letter. Dear Mr., we would either say Mr. or Ms., I'm writing to apply for the programmer position advertised in the Times-Union. As requested, I am enclosing a completed job application, my certification, my resume, and 3 references. The opportunity presented in this listing is very interesting, and I believe that my strong technical experience and education will make me a very competitive candidate for this position. The key strengths that I possess for success in this position include: I have successfully designed, developed, and supported live use applications. So they're a very good example of something that they have completed, an accomplishment. I strive for continued excellence, and I provide exceptional contributions to customer service and all customers. Let's look at the rest of the cover letter. With a BS degree in computer programming, I have a full understanding of the full life cycle of a software development project. I also have experience in learning and excelling at new technologies as needed. Please see my resume for additional information on my experience. I can be reached anytime via email at johndonaldson@gmail.com or my cell phone, 905-555-5555. Thank you for your time and consideration. I look forward to speaking with you about this employment opportunity. Sincerely, John Donaldson. Now you can see from this example that he covers all those specific points. He doesn't restate his resume or CV, but gives additional information that hopefully will make the person screening this application want to read his resume or CV. Now, whether we look at a curricula vitae or a resume, what's the difference? The primary differences are the length and the content and purpose. A resume is a 1 or 2 page summary of your skills, experience, and education. A goal of resume writing is to be brief and concise, since at best, the resume reader will spend a minute or so reviewing your qualifications. So it should never be a long, lengthy document. A resume is short and to the point. On the other hand, a curriculum vitae, commonly called a CV, is a longer, 2 or more pages, more detailed summary. A CV will include a review of your educational and academic background, as well as teaching, research experience, publication, presentations, awards, honors, affiliations, and other detail. We use a CV primarily when applying for international, academic, education, scientific, or research positions, or when applying for fellowships or grants. You may need different versions of the CV for different types of positions. Let's look at preparing a resume and the important information that you should include. Your personal information. The first thing your employer should see when looking at your resume is, of course, your name. You should use a font that's easy to read. Make sure it is clear, stands out, and easy to read. Include your full address, contact phone numbers, and an appropriate email address. And by this we mean something, your first name, your last name, but not funny things. Fluffy butterfly or anything like that that's silly would be completely inappropriate for a professional resume. Your education. List your education, starting with the most recent, and work backwards from there. This is what we call reverse chronological order. Include the name of the university, the city or town where the school you attended is located for secondary and beyond, and the years that you completed. Be sure to list any certificates or diplomas you received, including those for many courses like computer or software courses, or any other training that might be useful in the job you are applying for. Skills and experience. Use your resume to show where you worked, what you learned, and how your skills and experience relate to the job for which you are applying for. Highlight abilities, skills, and experience that relate to the job. If all of your experience is in an unrelated field to the job you're applying for, focus on transferable skills that you learned. There are many types of skills that you learn on a job that would be transferable in any field. When listing your work experience, include the location and dates you worked for each job or volunteer position. Use action words to describe what you did in the positions you held. Focus on the top 5 duties for each job. Other relevant information. You may also want to include your job goals, the languages you speak, or any relevant achievements or awards. You can also include interests or activities that say something positive about you. Don't forget, however, that the point of your resume is to show why you're the right person for the job. Remember to keep your resume concise with the most important information at the top. Some resume tips. Think ahead. If you wait until the last minute to hand in your resume, you could miss the deadline and risk not being considered for the job. Tailor your resume. Include information on your resume associated with the job you're applying for. Chunk it out, and by that we mean if there's lots of information, break it into separate sections with specific headings. So activities, awards, professional involvement, education, work experience, volunteer experience, internships, have each of those in a separate category. Again, use action words. Focus on things you have accomplished and avoid starting every sentence with I. Proofread. Never rely on spell check. Repeat tip 5. Even one misspelled word could put you on the do not consider pile. Make your resume presentable. Make sure your resume looks clean and organized. Use white, letter-sized paper and a font that's easy to read, like Times New Roman or Arial. And this is very important. People think if they put their resumes on heavy stock or bright-colored paper, it will certainly attract the interviewer's attention. It will, but not in a positive way. So keep it simple. Keep it concise. Try to keep your resume as short as possible, ideally 1 or 2 pages. Be honest. Lying on your resume is never a good idea. Many people who lie on their applications end up losing their jobs when their employers find out the truth. Be professional. Remember, this is a business document, so don't include unnecessary embellishments like flashy paper or a picture. Although many applications we do now include our picture, oftentimes the company will request a picture, but it's sometimes not appropriate to send the picture, depending on the company and the position. Now, we look at a curricula vitae. A curricula vitae, often called a CV, is a longer, 2 or more pages, and more detailed synopsis. We use a curricula vitae applying for international, academic, education, scientific, or research positions, or when applying for fellowships and grants. As with a resume, you may need different versions of a CV for the different positions you are applying for. What to include? Like a resume, your CV should include your name, contact information, education, skills, experience. In addition to the basics, the CV also includes research and teaching experience, as well as publications, grants, fellowships, professional associations, licenses, awards, and other information relevant to the job or position. Start by making a list of all your background information and then again organize it into categories. Make sure you include dates on all the publications you include. Don't just write one CV and use it for every position. Have targeted and focused versions of your curricula vitae and use them accordingly. So for research grants versus teaching assignments, each CV should be tailored to that position. Keep it short. Although a curricula vitae is longer than a resume, it should not go into 8 or 10 pages. I think a maximum of 4 to 5 pages would be appropriate. So keep it short, include summaries of your employment, education, rather than lots of other details. Use formal and well-written language. Write simply and clearly. Tell the truth. It can be tempting to make your educational qualifications or your work history sound a little better than they really are. If you're tempted to stretch the truth about your work history, don't. Most employers conduct reference checks and background checks. If your curricula vitae does not match your actual work history or education, you will most likely get caught at some point and will not get the job, or if you do have the job, you would be fired. So keep those ideas in mind, and good luck with writing your curricula vitae or your resume. Thanks for watching Speak English online video lessons. See you next time.